Hello, everyone! Wastrels and adventurers alike, I'm Caedo-Genesis. This is the PIPCAST 3000, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about Fallout and gaming in general and all kinds of other stuff if we go off on a tangent. This happens every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and we are joined this time with a returning special guest, TKs-Mantis.
YOLO.
And my co-host, BADCompanySarge.
Howdy.
And Jared of Jarred Gaming is not with us this week because he is working on other projects. We hope to see him in a couple of weeks. The tip of the day is to stay indoors if you are not doing anything, work-related or something like that, if possible, because we are still trying to get through a pandemic, trying to stop and or slow the spread. Do what you can. We've been using wear masks as a tip of the day, but staying indoors is pretty helpful too. So do that. Be considerate of people in general. And we had a lot of comments, probably thanks to some of Mantis's crew coming and hanging out and listening to the podcast too.
No way.
But we grabbed a nice comment of the cast from the last PIPCAST. What is that comment, Sarge?
This comment is from Lord Ares, who I'm going to have to work out a voice for. Is there any in-game lore or explanation to how you receive the synth components? Do you just rip them out of the body somehow? Or is it found in its pocket? Our character picks up synth components. If our character was killed by, say, a raider and then was looted, that doesn't make sense. Would they not find synth components? Is it set in stone that synth components determine who is a synth? I don't know, so I ask, because not all synths have synth components.
It's strange that he sounds like Jim Sterling, but I still want to give him...
Is that what Jim Sterling sounds like? I've never heard his voice before.
You've never heard Jim Sterling? Dude, one of the best channels. One of the best channels on YouTube. It's like Jim Sterling doing an evil voice. It's just because of your accent.
He's doing his corporate voice.
Yeah, his corporate voice. Oh, Activision. You're on it again. But on that note, though, on the synth component note, the wiki doesn't specify it either. It's vaguely summarized as you find synth components on synths. So in game, if you find a synth component on humanoid, it typically means that they are a synth. That's usually what the in-game definition for it is. But it does not say where it's found. It's just assumed to be found, like in the brain or other vital organs, according to the wiki. But so I imagine that, you just pull it out of their body, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but...
I mean, you're already looting the stuff out of their pockets. Might as well do a thorough job of it.
It's a video game, too. I mean... You can
just slander their brain a little bit.
Yeah, you can just kind of pull it out of their body. It's okay. It's okay for it to not... because people try to play the realism card with Fallout, but there's a whole lot about Fallout that isn't realistic.
Oh, dude.
Whole lot about it.
Okay. Listen, you can shoot somebody's arm off and loot the arm and still access their pockets.
That's one of my favorite memes is this green text I saw on 4chan of this dude that then he pulled all of this gear out of his eyeball. I swear to God. But even beyond that, with the way a post-nuclear landscape would look in the real world is oftentimes been proven to be different than the way it looks in Fallout. If you look at Chernobyl, if you look at Fukushima, it's all lush, overgrown, mutated plants, which is cool. You get daisies with two heads and stuff, but...
I mean, it's almost kind of a bit more like 76.
It is, actually, yeah. 76, well... Yeah, actually, it is. The forest area of 76 would, I think, absolutely thrive in a post-apocalyptic, a post-nuclear situation. But at the same time, if you get directly hit with one of those, it's going to cause some damage for a very long time. Yeah. But I'm talking about overlying radiation of, it doesn't just kill plants. If anything, it helps them grow sometimes. Radiation's weird, man. We don't even, I don't understand it. I'm sure people understand it just fine, but I don't understand it completely enough to, know, enough to know off the top of my head.
Yeah. I will recommend, too. Is it still on... Was it on Netflix or something? The Chernobyl documentary?
Oh, the show?
Yeah,
that everybody was watching? It might have been on Netflix. I never caught it myself, but people were really into it.
It was
really good.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Gave a lot more context, for real.
Mm-hmm.
The results of or the creeping death of radiation exposure is...
Oh, it's terrifying.
utterly
Oh,
terrifying.
it's super terrifying. There's a story about an old couple that survive a bomb, and the story is about how they succumb to uranium fever. It's insane. It's so sad and so scary.
Yeah, there was one of the people who I don't know if it was more dramatized, but one of the movies about the Manhattan Project, and coming up with the atom bomb. Basically, somebody had like touched raw uranium or raw plutonium or something like that by accident. Like it was falling and they caught it.
Oh no!
And then they just started swearing when they put it back because they were just like, "Well, I'm dead."
Yeah, no kidding.
but it happens over time.
Yeah.
It's an agonizing process of basically your whole body deteriorating. Like it is like burning from the inside out. It's so
Yeah, no good.
I don't know if I should say look into it because like if you're really interested and have morbid curiosity, like go for it. But like it is far off topic right now. We had, I think that answered the question anyway.
Yeah.
For the synth components.
It better have.
We had a few news topics that we were going to go over. We weren't going to go too heavy on the Fallout topic. At least it has yet to be seen, of course. So we're going to be talking about the best character build to play in Fallout in general. So that could go into like all the games or a few of them.
Yeah.
But we're going to start with news this time and talk about, firstly, QuakeCon at home, because a lot of events are happening via live stream and stuff like that. QuakeCon is no different. It may be the first time that I actually get to witness what's going on at QuakeCon, because usually they're pretty secretive about what happens there when Bethesda is revealing things. So
yeah, but this time we've got a schedule, which will be down in the description.
Yes.
And there's not like a single thing on here which looks like a reveal or anything interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, there is one thing on this entire, like, schedule I'm at all slightly interested on, and that's 8 PM on Sunday, Mooncrash with Lawrence Sontag and someone else. I'm a fan of Lawrence Sontag from, like, the Inside Gaming stuff, Funhouse days, so I'm like, that might be something I decide to check out. Don't care about literally anything else, and even that one is mild interest at best.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule myself, and as somebody who is a fan of this, and you try so hard to be a fan of Bethesda or what they're doing, I'm looking at the schedule, and like, of course, what piques my interest is like Fallout stuff. So Fallout catches my eye every time I see it. I see Fallout 76, a colossal problem boss event. And they say, join the Fallout 76 design team. I have no qualms with them. I'm not here to talk badly about the developers of Fallout 76 at all, or the community managers. I've actually had very pleasant interactions with the community managers. What they double down on and what they choose, Fallout 76 Australian community session with Moonlit Charlie and Captain Noob. Oh, Captain Noob's being featured. He's a friend of my channel. That's cool that he's being featured. But there was a cooking show. Fallout cooking show with Bethesda Australia and New Zealand. This is all fun ideas, and I really like the community outreach and stuff like that. Of course, I'm a little jelly when I see that other Fallout community people are picked over, not over me, but picked at all, and I don't get anything. But at the same time, I don't expect to get anything. It's just that you see that other people get it, and you're like, oh, that would have been fun. But like, it makes sense. Captain Noob.
I agree.
Yeah, I know you should agree, but like you have a valid complaint there. But what I'd like to see, like what you guys were saying, like announcements and stuff like that. It's okay if there's not going to be anything new announced or something, especially with the pandemic going on, everything that's going on. I can understand them not having anything necessarily quote unquote new to show. Okay, like I'm not going to be that guy. Oh, has to be new stuff or whatever. But it would be nice that instead of having cooking shows and showcasing events, that maybe you address some of the problems that game has. You have this terrific opportunity to be even closer with your fans and get direct feedback and get direct stuff. And it seems like they sidestep that to celebrate failure. Like 76 hasn't been a critical success. It's actually been a huge blemish on their company. So for them to double down and let's do all these different events and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, why don't you do an event where you talk about how you can, like, not necessarily fix the game, quote unquote, but address some of these problems. The multiple microtransactions, the off-putting community standards, the PvP absence, the fact we were talking about before the stream started, the podcast started, the bloodied builds, how OP they are, which I think we're getting onto later, but why not balance your game and fix it to the criticisms that not only your fans are having, but like literally the entire gaming community is having? Instead, I don't know. I sound really pessimistic right now, but it's just like, it seems silly to me to have a cooking show.
I thought I was going to be pessimistic.
It just seems silly to me to have like, oh, we're going to have this cooking show instead of like, I don't know, working on 76 to make sure that it's not terrible.
Well, here's the thing though. It's QuakeCon. I think usually Bethesda goes all in with their admittance stuff, or at least as close as we can get with E3.
Yeah.
Everybody pulled out of
E3 last year, though. Remember?
Yeah. I don't know if as many people are interested in general in QuakeCon simply because of what it or how it originated.
Well, yeah, because it seems more efficient these days to just go on Bethesda Softworks YouTube channel, release a trailer or talk about something, and there you go. You don't need an event. You don't need anything. You put out a YouTube video, and a million people watch it. GG, like it's over.
What this looks like to me, the whole schedule just looks like a few months worth of a YouTube creator's content.
Yeah, okay.
Like
and
every
that
single
was
thing
kind of
on
my
here
problem.
is just,
Yeah.
oh, here's a video.
Like, it's like, why don't you guys showcase something that you're doing instead of what others are doing? Like, I don't know, but it makes me feel like a pessimist, and a jealous, like, little turkey. Because because like, oh, I would want to be involved, but would I? Would I actually want to be involved? And I think the answer is actually no. Like, I would love to showcase Fallout and the lore and the history and the games and stuff like that to an audience that wants to hear it and wants to learn about it, or we can learn things together. You know what I mean? Because I don't know everything, but to go there and just be like, here's my speed run of Fallout 4. Here I'm cooking Brahmin steak with Nuka-Cola, and it's like, yeah, well, we get that on YouTube already. Like, and maybe they're just having fun. I don't know. I feel like I'm really going to town on this when I don't need to be. Like, I feel really like I'm playing the bad guy here. I'm not trying to, but it just because I feel like no matter what they do, they just get hate. You know what I mean? Like they oh yeah, we're just having a little event here at QuakeCon, and then I come in and I'm like, hey, this is terrible, and everything you're doing is bad. Like, but it's not. Maybe it's not like that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I looked a little more hard on what they're actually doing, but it appears to be a lot more like a collaboration event than
it does.
An actual
and there's nothing wrong
promotional side of it.
And that's actually good.
Far more community oriented than it is.
Yeah, and you got to give them props for that, because some
selling products.
Yeah, because some companies don't do that. You know what I mean at all, and Bethesda does actually do that. But also, I'd like to point out at 11 p.m. Robert Whittaker and Pete Hines play the Elder Scrolls Online. Top UFC middleweight fighter Robert Whittaker. Okay, I'd like to see top UFC middleweight fighter Robert Whittaker bring Pete Hines into his world instead. I'd like to see Pete Hines fight him in the octagon. I just think it would be more entertaining than watching them play Elder Scrolls Online. Robert Whittaker likes Fallout more anyway, so they're making him play ESO, which is sad. Which I'm sure he likes ESO. I'm just trying to be funny, but yeah, I'd like to see the opposite of that. I think that would be very entertaining.
What if they were playing head-to-head Elder Scrolls Legends?
I don't even know what that is, but
that's the card game.
Oh, okay.
They don't talk about
I
anymore.
would give the edge to Pete Hines on most anything involving technology.
Yeah.
But Robert Whittaker gets down. Like, when he's not in the trading or like fighting or whatever, he's playing a Bethesda game. Like, he played the heck out of Fallout 4. I think he played the heck out of 76 as well. He obviously plays ESO. He's a very, like, he wore a Vault 111 hoodie down to the Octagon one time, and so I've always been like, hey, that's cool, you know, like, you like what I like. But like, so I know that he can play games, but I'm just saying, well, how does Pete Hines stand, you know, in the opposite? I'd like to see the opposite skill set be tested, please. Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Or let Pete Hines fight him in the UFC, the new UFC game that's coming out. That'd be fun too.
Yeah, well.
And then nobody gets hurt.
Wouldn't be.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, of course, Robert Whittaker would destroy Pete Hines. It doesn't matter how big of a man he is. Like, Robert Whittaker is a trained professional killer. Yeah. And Pete Hines is a professional rude guy on Twitter. Allegedly.
All right. Well, Yeah. Well, if anybody in the comments or listening is interested in checking out the QuakeCon live show, it starts on August 7th. You can check out the schedule. We've linked it down below. And yeah, they'll be on Twitch from August 7th to the 9th.
So what you're saying is that we should restream it with reaction, like a reaction stream to it, the entire time it's going on all 3 days.
Yeah,
the whole time.
That's how you get the views. 24-hour stream.
Well, I don't care about the views. I just want to sit there and be pessimistic for 3 days straight, I guess. Like, hate on everything. The Doom stuff looks cool. Doom Eternal's great.
Yeah.
Have you guys played Doom Eternal at all?
Not played Doom Eternal. Got to play the 2016 one, though.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's good, though. Eternal's good. I'm bad at it, and I still think it's, like, one of the best games I've played. It's really good.
I think Sarge and I are in the same boat of too many games.
Oh, yeah, me too. I definitely have too many games.
And the ones that I want to play end up being tending to be endless ones or very long ones. So
like,
it's hard to...
I'll start a side play of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yep.
It's like a 200-hour side play while you're doing other stuff.
That's a long playthrough.
Yeah, I just started it myself. I'm very excited. It's good.
Yep.
Heck with the haters.
Yeah. Well, here's something that Sarge and I both hope are good, or is good. I assume you hope it's good too, Mantis. Is Project Atlas and the following stuff for 76.
Yeah.
Oh, let me click on this because I don't even know what that is. Let me see what this is. You guys should talk about it, and I'll read here too. And then,
I can give you all the necessary information because the Brotherhood is coming back to Appalachia towards the end of this year.
I didn't want to keep being mad.
It could be good. Like, we don't know how the arrival's actually going to happen, and for me, personally, it's like one of the most nerve-wracking things, because if they bring the Brotherhood back in like a way that makes sense, like it's just a few remnants of them, like a real beat-up, just stragglers here and there who are coming back and having to rebuild, I'm all on board for that. If it's like full-on, here's the army of people in power, and look how strong they are, I'm actually going to be so disappointed. But we don't know what's going to happen with that yet. All we've got here is like a little precursor where this dude is building up the Atlas Observatory to be like a Brotherhood base, which is cool. And it's going to be a whole community event where you deposit junk, you get rewards, there's whole community rewards for it if the objective gets met, depositing the correct amount of junk. I'm always a fan of these community events happening in 76 because it actually utilises the fact that this is a multiplayer, always online, collaborative game. So more of this I'm happy with. But if you're not into 76, it's not the kind of thing that's going to get you to come back either.
Well, can I paint you a small painting here?
Yes, please.
Okay. So put yourself in this position. You play Fallout 1. You love it. You're like, man, the first Fallout, this game, well, at the time, well, I guess you'd call it the first Fallout because both Fallout 1 and 2 are out at this time. You're playing Fallout 1. Man, this game's really good. You go to this little bunker. There's 2 guys in power armor, and they're like, hey, you're like, what's in here? And they're like, well, nothing, none of your business. But if you want it to be your business, you know, you could go down to West Tech facility, this little crater in the ground, no big deal. Get us a holotape, and you bring that back, and maybe we'll let you in. And you're like, oh man, that sounds great. I'm gonna go do that. And then you go to the pit of what they're talking about, West Tech, and it's literally called the Glow because it's just a hole in the ground that's a direct hit from a nuke. And like everybody who goes there dies immediately. But if you're really good, you take some rad eggs, some rad away with you. You can make it back, and they're surprised, like, "Oh my god, I thought you were gonna die out there. Like, we didn't expect you to come back." We literally sent people out there to die when they asked to join. That's how the Brotherhood used to be. Okay, when Maxon left, and I'm talking about real Maxon, not Battlecoat Maxon, not Android Maxon.
Roger, you're talking about Roger Maxon.
Yes, not Arthur. So when Roger left he didn't like leave his position, but when he was departing from the United States military, the United States Army, and he took to Mariposa, his biggest thing was, we're all together. Literally, who cares about anybody else? We need to get things for us. We need to make sure that we're good. And then he led an expedition out of there. Okay, that was it. If you weren't in that group, they didn't care. That if you had something they wanted, they would take it, and if you fought them, they'd kill you. The end. Now fast forward the lore to I guess we're just on the East Coast now because we walked or something, and we have vertebrates or something.
That's not how it's... No, it's not that case.
No,
It's
I'm talking about Fallout 4.
military
I'm talking about Fallout 4 with that.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Fallout
okay.
3. Well,
I was
actually,
gonna say,
Fallout
what?
3. But I don't think they should be in Fallout 3 either. But
How does,
with 76,
how does it pertain to? Because 76 is 25 years after.
Yeah, I'm roping it together. But with 76, okay, like that's why I said fast forward the lore. They're on the East Coast when I don't think they should be, but that's a different debate for a different time. You fast forward to actual 76, where the lore is only 25 years after the bombs fell. Maxon kind of led that expedition around that time, so we're dealing with Roger should still be alive. I think you get holotapes from him in 76. He sends a satellite to Appalachia to recruit Brotherhood members. A xenophobic guy who literally wants nothing to do with anybody who isn't already on his team is going to recruit strangers to do...
He recruits someone who is already on his team, though, like old military buddies, and they end up building it up.
Yeah, it's just a hard story to buy, though, is all I'm saying. It's fine. I'm
it's
glad
not
that they
the
tied it
same
together.
Brotherhood.
I'm glad that they tied it together. I just feel like shoehorning the Brotherhood into every single Fallout game cheapens the Brotherhood. Because on the West Coast, they were this thriving... And, like, to put it into perspective, in Fallout 2, the Brotherhood are so anti-people and so anti-everything, they literally hide from everybody the entire game and get somebody else to kind of steal stuff from the Enclave so that they don't have to directly confront them because they're scared of them. And then you go to Fallout 3 and it's like, we're going to take on the Enclave. Who cares? Balls to the wall. Liberty Prime. And it's just, they painted them to be this opposite. When I don't know, it's okay to do retcons. It's okay to change things because you got to grow the series, you got to grow the lore, and that's fine. But I feel like they get shoehorned in because people wouldn't buy the game if the Brotherhood wasn't in it. You know, like that's how I feel from that perspective. I wish that it didn't have to be that way. Is all I'm saying.
It made them. I mean, from the beginning, it kind of made them and or Power Armor an integral part to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
and Power Armor doesn't bother me too much.
Like, yeah, the Brotherhood having such a rich story does basically lend itself to making that an easier way to make it the Power Armor exist.
Yeah, well, and the Power Armor is
in a simple way,
the issue in my real opinion. But like my biggest complaint is they made such good things. Like Bethesda made the Republic of Dave, they made Talon Company, they made Riley's Rangers, they made the Gunners. All these things that could actually be utilized. The Children of Adam, they made these factions. They created these stories. They should have, like in my opinion, of course, should is an operative word here, but I would have liked to have seen them elaborate on all those instead of rehashing. Oh, here's what we're gonna take bits from the West Coast, Deathclaws, Brotherhood, Enclave. Of course, they didn't bring the NCR over, but I'm waiting for it. I mean, they already have what appears to be the veteran Ranger armor. I realize that it's a different armor, but like, exactly. But like, when is it gonna be? Oh, by the way, a couple of guys from the NCR have made their way to Appalachia, and you know what would be even funnier about that is the NCR doesn't even exist in that capacity yet because it would still barely be Shady Sands. It wouldn't even be Shady Sands. They'd be in Vault 15 still.
They wouldn't go that far, I don't think.
I'm just saying.
They could go cosmetics.
But that's how
probably
that's how bad
but
it is though. That's how egregious it is. Because the people that built Shady Sands and formed into the NCR are in Vault 15 at this time period, so they couldn't possibly be over here. But the Brotherhood were inside Mariposa, so they couldn't possibly be in Appalachia either.
They're not. It's different Brotherhood. It's people using the same kind of ideals and stuff.
But
based
why
off
couldn't
a
they do
few
that with
messages.
NCR? It's just a different NCR.
Because the NCR hasn't been created yet.
All right. I mean, well, it has in Vault 15 because you had the Cons, you had the Vipers, you had NCR. They called themselves something different. They were like the leaders of Vault 15. But
if we can go back to Jet as a topic, it actually hasn't been reintroduced to 76 specifically because of things like this.
Well, I bet you it's because they can't slow down the gameplay when you're online.
I was gonna say I think that's probably the bigger issue.
Figure out how to do that. I bet you Jet will make a roaring
Here's the thing,
comeback.
though. They could also made reference to it in like a little, I think it was a Blood Eagle like message or something like that.
Yeah.
But on the topic of introducing new factions, like there's a whole bunch of new factions in 76.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But
and they're also being allowed to grow in their own way.
And that's great. That's something I'd love to, the Cult of Mothman.
But people love the Brotherhood.
I know, and that's the problem. I'm not saying that people loving the Brotherhood...
Fans are the problem.
No. I'm not saying that people loving the Brotherhood...
I agree with that sentiment.
No, I mean, but what I'm saying is, like,
I do
people
too.
liking the Brotherhood isn't the issue. The issue is you don't always have to cater to that. Make something else that they'll like. And then the Brotherhood, it will maintain their legacy. And then when they do show up in something, it actually matters. As opposed to they're in everything anyway, so them being here is just arbitrary. Like, it's just, of course they're here. Same with Super Mutants. They don't need to be in every GD game. They don't need to. FEV doesn't need to exist in every area. It doesn't need to form. No. Like on the West Coast, the Master made them. Sure. You want to talk about, in Fallout 3, there's a vault that had FEV in it? Sure, whatever. But, in Fallout 4, the Institute's making it. In 76, there's some too. And you're just like, where are they? Like, it doesn't have to be that. Same with Deathclaws. No. They don't have to be everywhere. It would make more sense if they were only in areas that Jackson's Chameleons hung out, but instead they're all over the place. Like, I've never seen a random lizard running across the ground over here in Washington State. But that doesn't mean that in Oregon, in Fallout 1 and 2, and down in California and stuff, you find Deathclaws as well. So it's okay to, like, breach that, but it's just like, you can come up with other stuff. That's what Tim Kaine said, too. The guy who made, like, he was one of the co-creators of the original Fallout. His biggest complaint about the Bethesda ones was, I wish they would have showed us what the, like, really cool, like, deep stories could exist in the East Coast instead of just using what we did in Fallout 1 and 2. And I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, you do have to have those staples to sell the game. You have to have the power, or the fans aren't going to be like, well, yeah, it says Fallout.
You have to have at least a couple, or it would be unrecognizable.
Yeah, you want it to be recognizable. You want it, and they're trying to create a franchise, so they want to base their franchise off of these aesthetics, these things, and that's fine. Like, and I get it from that standpoint. I'm just saying, from a lore snob standpoint, like, meh. But like you said,
not my Fallout.
Yeah, hashtag not my Fallout. But it's not like you said. The way they execute it is really most important. If they just bring them back in full force, then it's just like, oh yeah, there you go, of course. But like, if they do what you're trying to say that they're doing with Atlas, like, yeah, that can be interesting. I'm not saying it couldn't at all. Not one bit. I
also wonder, like, I'm not as fresh on the lore of the 76 Brotherhood, but most of them, including Taggarty, which was the commanding officer, I'm pretty sure, were wiped out.
Yeah, they got murked by the Scorch, right?
Yeah. So the ones coming back would be somebody on, like, a long patrol, or...
No, it was the ones that fled. Because a bunch of them fled before the finals.
They just fled.
So according to Bethesda, they all have vertebrates at this point anyway, which they shouldn't. So just... vertibots. Never mind. So I could be wrong about that. I was going to say, because they got those plans from the Enclave in Fallout 2. So Brotherhood should not have vertebrates. Like, if they do in 76, there's another one. It's another check on the list.
Yeah, I don't think they I think they were all government drones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the issue behind that?
That's still maintained.
I don't think there is an issue behind that.
No, I mean, like, why? What's the government surveillance vertibots up to? Like, why do they exist?
Well, some of them were defending buildings. Go ahead, Sarge.
I can't remember exactly, but I know that there's a section where it ties into, like, the main story and, like, nuclear keycards and... I want to say it's like
they guard the cargo bots. I do remember.
Yeah, it's like a contingency plan for when the war breaks out and you need to launch nukes. Something along those lines. I can't remember the exact details, but
yeah, man, I used to remember, like, every time I logged on late game before all those updates, I'd just be like, okay, which silo am I using today? I used to just do solo runs on the silos.
But I reckon that's probably enough 76.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Until we get to the Fallout topic.
Long, man. I want to get going on their little challenge board. I didn't do much of it last month, so.
There's like some bonus earning times possibly coming in the future.
Yeah, depending on how the community events go, which is, I don't even think we got to mention that, did we?
Yeah, I mentioned it right at the start.
Community events bring materials.
Yep.
They're gonna want materials. Yes.
Anyway.
Okay. Yes.
Something else which gives you stuff is Xbox Games Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Xbox Games Pass.
I learned some new things about it.
It's a good service.
Yeah. I feel like it's the gold standard now for, like, a games as a service.
Absolutely.
Because Caedo's linked, like, the join Xbox Games Pass thing, and man, I'm tempted. I know full well that I already
Right.
have more games than I will ever really be able to play, but I'm like, first
If you
month for
have
$1.
an Xbox, dude, it's worth it. Like, I've had it
Well,
for
that-
over a year now.
Not even that. Look at the PC deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the PC
I've got an
deal, too.
Xbox and a PC, and I'm like, well, I'm already paying like the $9.99 a month
Exactly.
for gold. If I just pay like $5 more than I've got Games Pass on both systems, I'm like, man, that's so tempting.
It's linked down below if anybody's interested. But the main thing I wanted to bring up specifically is when they did the Xbox showcase where they were showing like all the new games that are coming out and stuff like that. Grounded included, which I've been playing, but I paid full price for. If I had Xbox Game Pass, I would have just been playing it for free for paying my first $1 a month and then $5.99 after that. Like, that would have been 1/6 of the price that I paid to get a taste for Grounded. It's just a good deal. Like, better than any other deal probably in any other storefront.
Yeah.
At
Well,
this
they've
time.
got so many games that they can just offer a ridiculous amount. Like, it says unlimited access to over 100 high-quality console and PC games. And that is a lot of games to be playing.
And you can click at the top to see the games library. But at the preview show, Carrion just came out too, and that's available on the pass. But all the games that they showed are going to be available on release on the Game Pass. Like, so if you get the Game Pass, you don't have to worry about buying a brand new game for $60 or $50. You can just play it for, if you're on PC, $5.99 a month. If you're on Xbox, what is it? $14.99 a month?
$9.99. It's $14.99 for
$9.99
both.
a month. Yeah.
And that includes gold. So,
Yeah.
It's also a great way to try out games, because I noticed 76 is on here. And I say 76 is a good game to try out rather than buy if you're on the fence about it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Man, oh god, there's so much stuff. I'm having to close this tab, or else I'm going to buy it right now.
Yeah, there's a lot here. Minecraft Dungeons. I've been hearing a lot of people enjoy that.
They would.
I think. Hey, I stand that Minecraft is one of the greatest games ever
Oh,
made.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. No argument here. I was just memeing. Like,
Yeah, good.
I think it should be. I think it should come installed on everything. Like, literally everything. On you get a new PC, it should have Minecraft on it. You get a new console, it should have Minecraft on it. Just a basic
funny.
like here's Minecraft. Yeah, like you know how games the PCs used to come with games like Solitaire. You know, I'm sure they still do, for the most part. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like little package setup where you would get these little
Yeah.
basic games. Minecraft should be that now. It should just be the thing that's installed on everybody's computer, and then you can maybe
Or
upgrade it.
Skyrim.
Skyrim. Shut up.
My Xbox and my PC did actually come with Minecraft.
Oh, your PC did.
And my Xbox.
Oh, your
I
Xbox.
got
Nice,
both
nice.
of them as like a Minecraft
Little bundle thing.
add-on thing for
Yeah,
like
nice.
the same price.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Minecraft's great,
Nice.
man.
That's funny.
And what you just brought up too, Skyrim. Skyrim's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I love Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people try to hate on it. Well, they do hate on it, but like I enjoyed my time with it. It was one of the first Elder Scrolls games I played. Got me into the series. It's super. To me, it was in depth. To me, it was fun and challenging and exciting. But yeah, they do oversell it. I will say that.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason it keeps coming back to modern consoles, though. People keep buying
Well, Todd
it.
said it himself, but people don't like the quote. He kind of got vilified for the quote. He said, "Yeah, I'll quit selling it when people quit buying it," and people
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
"Ugh." Well, but he's right though. Like,
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
why would he stop selling it if people are still buying it? Like that doesn't. That's
People are mad more so that he's right.
yeah,
than,
that has,
than it's
yeah, for
actually
sure.
bullcrap.
Like,
Yeah, I have a mental image in my mind of someone shouting at Todd Howard being like, why do you keep selling Skyrim, as they're just throwing money at him?
yeah.
He's just like pulling their wallet out and just
And then,
Yeah.
and then like grabbing a copy of Skyrim from him while they're yelling, like and walking away.
You're a terrible person, take Skyrim leave.
Well, it's the same thing with me, man. I'm like, all this monetization is 76 is terrible. Then I'll like, I'm a Fallout First member and also buy things on the Atom Shop.
Oh man.
Like, I'm a part of the problem.
Dude! I cover that game as my job, but I still haven't bought any atoms.
I haven't bought any Atoms since I became a Fallout First member.
What, since you became a
Since I became a First member.
Oh,
and I became a First member when it... Okay, so On Xbox One, I was a first member because somebody donated it to me so that I would review it because they wanted to hear what my actual like thoughts were on it because I'm such a hater. So I was like, okay. But then I discovered while having it that you cannot play 76 without it. Like and I understand that you can, but what I mean is that unlimited junk storage means so much to me that I cannot play 76 without it. Like
that should be available to everyone.
It shouldn't even be a part of that paywall. It should be a part of the base game. Everything else that they put behind that is fine, but like that is not cool. That I'm trying.
Thank you.
I think you mean that is ultra not cool.
Yeah, it's ultra not cool to put some of that kind of stuff behind paywalls. But again, I haven't participated in the more egregious monetization. Well, I guess that is the egregious monetization. Because they give you the atoms and stuff per month when you're that. So if you look at my home on the PC version, it's just filled with stuff from the Atom Shop. Like Paul Bunyan, Vault Boy, like all those weird Mothman statues and stuff. But like,
man.
That's all from the Fallout First atoms that I get like per month.
And if you're going that route, like atoms wise, that is the better route to go anyway. So
yeah,
that's the thing. The monthly service is decent if you're after atoms and after the cosmetic stuff, even without the Sirat box.
You know what would solve the problem? Like seriously, if they just made the game free to play. They just made the game free to play. It wouldn't matter. Yeah. Like all of that stuff would make sense, and nobody would be upset about it.
Are you me? Because I've said that many times.
Or was it Leo? Is it the Leo meme? Who's sitting on the chair where they're pointing at the TV? Like, I forget the meme.
Oh yeah, it's a Leo meme. Yeah.
Leo. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was Matt Damon. What the heck? Oh my god.
Yeah.
But well, it's like I understand why it's not free to play. But then take away some of the monetization stuff. Like, either take away the membership or take away the
current model is a free-to-play model. Like, free-to-play games use what they're doing.
Because of the Battle Pass, especially. Like, that new one is what really sent it over the line for me. Because it's like, yeah, you can grind out this this game board, for literally 2 days straight. Or you could, I don't know, give us some atoms, grease the palms a little bit, level you up, you know? Per level, by the way, you can't do it... willy-nilly. You have to buy each level with atoms.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, that's where I'm like, come on. How many gosh darn monetizations are you going to have around here? And that's the problem. That's my only problem with the monetizations is that there's so many of them. I understand it having one or two. Or like just the Atom Shop or just a subscription. But then you have like 3 going now. 3 different schemes. And it's just like, when's the next one? What is the next one? I'd like, just make it free to play at this point. Before it made sense that it wasn't. Like now it's like like you said, Caedo, it's the model that they use. Like it's the literal model that they use. I don't know. But again, I bought the game for $100 twice. And I'm a member of the Fallout First thing, and I paid for atoms. So, you know,
I'm in the buy the game twice boat too.
Yeah, I bought
Both of you have spent more money on this game than I probably have.
Yeah, well, part of it I look at it as like part of my job. I'm like, well, I have to have everything for 76 so I can cover it if I need to. But then second part of it is I have a fear of missing out. Like I get really anxious if I feel like I'm missing out on something. So if I have the money to do it, if it's in my bank account, I'm like, okay, so I want to see what, like if it, like the fridge and the scrap bot that they put out there. I was against them. I was like, that is disgusting. I was like, how dare you? But I bought them anyway because I wanted to see how they worked so I could tell people why they were disgusting. Kind of like what you said. You wanted an educated opinion on why you thought a bloody build was bad. This is the same thing. That was in the pre-stream, I believe. But like that it's the same thing. Like I wanted to not just be like the fridge sucks because it does and it costs money, so that sucks. But like I wanted to tell people why this is silly. Like, but again, the fridge makes sense. It should be free though. You should have a free cold storage, and then like you know, again. But who am I to should them to death? They're Bethesda. I'm TKs-Mantis.
Right.
Yeah. Clearly, there's an imbalance there. They are winning. So I've never made a video game. Never ran a business. So maybe I should shut the hell up.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing, like, it's an old quote at this point, but voting with your wallet is the best thing that
and I'm terrible at that too.
People can do. So Like,
Man, this is
but
terrible. Take my money, God.
it is a very serious thing when it is when they do take advantage of the fear of missing out that you were talking about.
That's what it is. Like, because
which
same
is
with any game though. It's not just Fallout. Like The Sims.
Yeah.
I have The Sims 4. I have the base game of The Sims 4, and on Xbox One, I have a lot of the DLC. But for The Sims 4 on Steam, I need $702 to get all the DLC.
The Sims is horrible.
I'm not opening the game
that is
until
the
I have all the
worst
DLC.
possible example.
So I'm at a standstill. I'm at a standstill. I won't do it. I will not play the game until I have everything for it.
Man.
Because it's not full. You know what I mean? It's not complete. I don't know. It's a weird thing my brain does. Like, I can't do it.
No, I know what you mean.
Ugh.
Well, I was listening back to our last discussions, how I was talking about the magazines and how that they're not completed bugs the crap out of me.
Okay, yeah, so you're right there.
Might be it's along the same lines, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, because I feel like the game's not complete. I feel like I don't have the complete game because there's something right there that adds something to the game that I don't have, and it's official and it's right there. If it's a mod or like Creation Club, I can be okay. But like, if it's official DLC,
official content,
yeah, like American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, I have all the DLCs for that. Even if they're truck paint, I don't care. It's a bad thing, because I don't feel like they're taking advantage of me. I feel like I'm just a stubborn idiot for needing to have stuff that I'll never use. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I don't blame the company. I blame me. But at the same time, like $702. Come on, $702 for all the Sims 4 DLC. Oh my god.
I don't know, for like an analogy, if anybody's having trouble following along, imagine if you go to, I don't know, your grandma's house, for example, and she's got a couple of candy dishes just laying out on the table. I'm gonna see how, right? That's a typical grandma thing to do. But she has like her old, like the one she's kept in the cupboard for way too long, like hard candies that you're just like, I don't want these.
I ain't vibing with that
kind of thing. But she's got the other candy dish that's got like the really good like candy stuff. But instead of doing the grandma thing where she gives you money like a typical grandparent would do, you give her money to have access to the other candy dish that has the other good candy.
Here, grandma, here's a 5 spot. Now let me have that Butterfinger over there. Thank you.
Right.
The Butterfinger DLC from Grandma's house. So,
that's exactly what's happening. But Bethesda is the grandma, and we're doing it anyway. We're going for that good candy jar.
Well, they'll win every time.
They'll
win every time. Yeah. Unless their product is universally bad. Now, 76 was objectively bad when it launched. People were very upset about it. But because of the charm of Fallout and because of like the charm of Bethesda being a buggy mess most of the time when they release games, it worked both against them and for them. The more people talked badly about the game, the more Bethesda would benefit because people would then go check out the game. Most of the time, people who were listening to a review of the game were interested in checking it out. So they're like, well, this guy doesn't like it, but some of these guys do, so I'm just going to buy it. And it worked every time. It works every time. Of
all press is good press.
Yeah.
Or bad press is...
Yeah, they used to say that. Like, there's no such thing as bad press. But, like, try going out there. Like, there's definitely bad press.
We can go on to the thing that Sarge was so adamant about keeping in the outline. Because it is pretty sexy.
Sexy boy builds PC.
Oh, what, Cavill and his computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty good computer, too.
Yeah, he builds this PC. So this is just literally an Instagram video of him putting together a computer. And I just love it because he's made it. It's very clear that not only has he made the computer, but it looks like he's made the video. I'm not sure if he edited it himself, because obviously we don't know. But honestly, just watching this, I could believe he edited it himself, because it's a good video, but it's not like some huge production piece or like some big, oh, we're gonna do this for your image and set up all the lighting and all that fancy stuff. It's literally just a guy building a PC. He makes some mistakes. He has fun with it. There's sexy music. It's great. It's just a nice video, and I felt so good watching it. But I recommend everyone just give it a watch. If you're feeling stressed out about any of the stuff we've been rambling on about, you can pause PIPCAST. It's 5.5 minutes. Watch Henry Cavill build a PC, chill out, feel good about the world for a little bit.
Yeah, I had nothing but good feelings after watching Henry Cavill put a computer together, and then like one of the lighting units or the temperature gauge was like upside down.
Yeah.
You had to take it all apart again.
Yep.
That's some
Yeah, so
real. That's some real.
You get to watch
right
that
there,
too. Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
That's the
That
thing,
happens
it's
to everybody.
so real.
Yeah.
Like, I ended up scrolling through, like, pretty much his entire Instagram afterwards, and it's like, yeah, this is a very real person, and it's nice to see a famous celebrity just being a real human being online and seeing... everyone always likes the whole relatable celebrity thing, and it can be played into sometimes, but Henry Cavill does seem like a genuine, real person, and that's just nice.
And Sarge is very clearly a fan.
He's a synth.
Oh, yes. I can't help it.
He's a synth.
And... yeah, but I got no problem with that.
Oh.
Henry Cavill or Sarge?
No, Cavill.
Me.
Well, probably Sarge,
What?
too, actually. They're both synths.
Oh, maybe that's why I like him so much.
Yeah. Like a connection.
To be fair, the fact that he's like in the UK and stuff as well does.
Well, for sure.
to
No, I
the
get it.
whole-
No, I get it, man.
That's-
Nothing
yeah.
wrong with being a fan of somebody who's, nothing at all. And the video was good. And you're right. It was relatable, and it made him seem more down to earth. For sure. Right there with you. But he is a synth, for sure. Only synths build computers. Humans buy stock. Synths build.
Oh no, I built my computer.
Yeah, I bought stock. That's how you know I'm a human.
Ah, now you'll have to break into the back of my skull and pull out the synth components to double check.
Out of your vital organs. No, my big thing with buying a stock one, I had never built one before, and this is my first gaming rig, so I figure I'm going to upgrade this one to learn how to do the parts and stuff, and then the next time I buy a computer, I'll know how to kind of do
smart.
it, and then I can build it. That was like my plan.
That's a good way to do it.
I mean, to be fair, mine is technically upgrades, but at this point, it's only like
Only
half
stuff you
the
put in
fans
it?
and
Yeah.
the shell. That's the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've literally taken a bunch of stuff out that came with it and just thrown it away.
I need to get a
Yeah.
new
And I'm looking to
SSD,
upgrade it
man. SSDs can't be that hard to plug in, right? That sounds
No,
like it should be very simple.
They're one of the easy parts.
Okay,
It
cool.
takes
Yeah,
minutes.
I want to get a
Yeah.
1 terabyte. So, because my Fallout 4 load times, when they're installed onto an external, it's brutal on stream,
Yeah.
man. We're talking like 2-minute
yeah.
load times on a live stream, and people let you know about it too. They're like, "Oh man, love this
yes.
loading
Oh,
simulator."
for sure.
You're like, "Yeah, it's totally my fault." Like my rig is a beast. Like I need to just get a new
Yeah.
SSD.
Yeah, I've got a 1 terabyte and it is great.
Yeah,
So
I
if
only
I'm
have 500 gigs. I need to get an extra 1T in here.
Highly recommend.
Well, I have 8 terabytes of external hard drive space.
I got the same.
Yeah, so like I'm good on that, but it's like games load very slowly from there. And SSDs, it's like lightning fast. Like 76 is the only thing installed into my SSD, so I load in faster than people during nuclear winter.
Oh man.
Because I kept loading in late and getting shot and stuff. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I am SD, and now I'm like in before everybody else, so then I run away because I have 5G connection and SSD, so I'm just out the door. Like, see ya.
Man, that is something we can talk about at the end because Caedo and I played some Nuclear Winter.
We did, yeah.
Do you guys play
I
on
should have written
PC?
that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to join you
You
sometime.
should. Yeah, you should add us.
I will.
We're
for sure.
actually a good team.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, we can add each other. Do you do Steam?
It's more.
I mean, you just add it through the social thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
have to do it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll. Wow, Caedo, I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah.
Mine's the same way. But yeah, I'll. We can do that later. Of course, obviously. But definitely,
Sounds
that'd be
good.
fun. It might make me like playing it because the times I enjoy the most is going on with my friends and playing Nuclear Winter. Like just going through and like oh they're over there, and we would get like first place a lot. Like it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun,
Well,
man.
if we keep this in, everybody in the comments, if you want to see Cato's highlights of me, Sarge, and Mantis,
oh yeah,
so.
man.
because
I'll-
I would do that.
There we go.
mean-
now you're talking about views.
Yeah. Well, something like that. So yeah, speaking of views and communities going crazy, Metacritic added a user rating timer.
Yeah, isn't it like 3 days?
36 hours, only a day and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
We did this to ourselves, boys.
Yeah.
we absolutely did.
Yep.
So after The Last of Us Part 2 came out and was review bombed before people even had a chance to play it, Metacritic was like, we gotta add a timer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is just going to happen all the time with people who have too much time on their hands and want to destroy a game before it releases, or before people have a chance to play it.
It's still going to happen. It's just going to happen 36 hours later. But at least there'll hopefully be some like real reviews.
Yeah,
and
well, there
people
would be.
will just
There would
be out
absolutely
there.
be.
Yeah, and there's obviously always like tons of live streams whenever a game first comes out. So there's a chance to actually kind of see the game before reading the people who are angry online who haven't played the game and have heard the one thing about it that triggers them and gets a review bomb.
Yeah. I can't really speak from experience being angry about something for 36 hours on a video game, though, or related to a video game, but there could be people out there that are.
Muscle Lady bad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Last of Us 2 was because of all of the leaks and stuff, largely.
Yeah.
Because they had, like, the script basically came
That's
out,
Naughty
and a bunch
Dog,
of people
right?
decided that was...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Naughty
well,
Dog,
they got some heat too because their company relations isn't too hot right now. So I think
Yeah.
that had something to do with it as well. Like people mad at them for like treating their employees badly.
Yeah.
I think...
Quickly, as a side note, obviously all of us will criticise Bethesda at some point in here, but I will say, my favourite thing about the company is 9 times out of 10 they seem to be treating employees relatively well.
You never hear a disgruntled
That's-
employee say that they got crunched or they got whatever, or they got this and that. It seems to be the same complaints any game developer would have. Not enough creative input, not, something like that. You're right. They don't seem to abuse their employees, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you picture Todd
that's-
Howard with like a whip in his hand? And like,
Well, literally, the last thing I saw on this was Lady Devam, one of the community
I know who she is, yeah.
managers. Yeah,
she's a great lady. Great lady.
yeah. One of her recent Twitter posts was like, "It's great working for ZeniMax because they've just sent us a bunch of ice cream."
Well,
And
I'm
actually
going
had some tubs of
to
ice
stop
cream and
right
stuff.
there,
It
criminal
was
scum,
nice.
Lady Devan, because I'll admit that like Bethesda's probably really chill and stuff like that, but ZeniMax, expletive deleted and corporate overlord situation, like they're a little sketch in my opinion. But Bethesda, I think, does have their own community inside their own place that is good. Like,
Oh, my mistake. She actually did say working at Bethesda has its perks.
yeah.
ZeniMax sent everyone that. So
yeah, ZeniMax is sketch in my opinion. And again, this is all allegedly in my opinion, but if you look up Robert Kirkman, or not Robert Kirkman, I might have I think that's the Walking Dead guy. Leave him out of this. There's the dude that runs. He's married to Wonder Woman. That guy has some skeletons that that you're like, and he did, like the way they handle stuff. They did a cease and desist on a F Online mod, which and you gotta wonder like why would you do that? Like that's so silly. And it's because they had Fallout in their URL.
yeah.
But
Like, that stuff I can at least understand. Like,
I can kind of understand it, but it's
I
a game that makes
want
no
those-
money that 20 people play. It's a little mod for Fallout 1.
I want those to be my controversies with gaming companies, though.
Oh, for sure.
If I can have that be the worst, I'm going to be so happy.
When I say sketch, that's what I'm referring
Yeah.
to. Yeah, the dude that runs ZeniMax had some like weird money stuff, but again, it was like money stuff. It wasn't like, something that you're gonna hate the guy for when you see him on the street, like, oh, he's the worst guy in the world. It's nothing like that. But also nitpicking like IPs and copyright stuff, I think is not cool. You know what I mean? And I feel like ZeniMax does it under Bethesda's umbrella. Like they use Bethesda's name to be like, oh, that person made a Fallout 1 thing, and I may be a little more biased too because ZeniMax took down my merch store a couple weeks ago, and I had to like re-put my stuff back up. And again, not to call out Caedo or anything, but Caedo uses a Vault Boy as his, like, all over his merch, all over his everything, and I had an Elon Musk drawn in the style of Vault Boy. And because I said one of their games was bad, or, okay, this is what I think, this is what I actually think happened. I think a troll pretended to be Bethesda and got my merch store taken down. I think that's what happened because Bethesda doesn't typically do that.
The more likely thing.
Yeah, because hopefully this part is in the PIPCAST. I don't think Bethesda took down my store. They usually aren't that petty. Neither is ZeniMax.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I've just seen your shirt by the looks of it as well.
yeah, there's no way.
Is it the one where he's holding Jet?
Yeah,
and it's, like,
yeah.
Truly drawn. Yeah, like that's okay. I was expecting it to be.
No, my wife
like,
drew that
much
shirt.
more
Like
egregious.
we saw a meme. Okay, so where it came from? I saw a meme that, of course, that's his Joe Rogan podcast. Where he's partaking.
Yeah.
And Someone had drawn him like that and like put him in front of like outer space, like an actual like the planet was in the background and like his car that's flying in space was in the background. And I was like, okay, that's funny. Like that's funny to me. So like I showed it to my wife. I was like, this needs to be a T-shirt. Like this is so good. So my wife drew that version of it, and we put it on a T-shirt. And then, yeah, I talked to Teespring. I said, hey, why is my store down? It says there was a copyright for Vault Boy and other Cartoon Network characters. And I don't have any Cartoon Network characters on my store, ever. Like, ever. Like, not even. So what I'm guessing happened is that somebody went in there and put a claim on Elon Musk Vault Boy for Vault Boy and my Mantis character as a Cartoon Network character. And, Teespring just didn't listen to him, I guess. I mean, I only listened to them and didn't care, like didn't check or anything, and just, yeeted it. So I had to make a new store, and everything's back up. But I have to use Teespring's deal because of the integration with YouTube.
Yeah.
So if it happens again, I'm going to Redbubble. I'm out of there. I'm out of there.
Yeah, I want to double check my thing really quick. Do you have Vault Boy in the text?
No.
Did you previously?
No.
Okay.
The shirt is called "The Only Jet Elon Needs." No, Jet is not trademarked or copywritten by Bethesda.
No,
I didn't think
jets
it was.
exist.
Yeah.
It's like
Though it is referring to a red inhaler that is on the picture.
Yeah.
This is still parody law. It's still a parody.
Yeah.
Like it's
Not only is it like a false claim, but there is so much merch and stuff to do with.
I was gonna say there's way more egregious things than like if Elon Musk took it down, that would have made more sense. Like this is my likeness. That kind of
his likeness,
but he's a public figure. Like he could make a case, he could try to get it taken down, but why would he? It's petty and it's dumb and who cares? Like, he's making $5 off my name every time someone buys a shirt. Like it's not a big deal to Elon Musk, I just think that I got trolled. I've had threats of like people trying to take my channel down before, and so I think that's just something that happened. And Teespring
that seems
didn't check.
Much more targeted.
Yeah, because it's silly. I don't think that Bethesda's that petty. There's no way that they were like, no. TKs-Mantis, let's go to his merch store and bring it down.
No.
Yeah.
But I did it first. I did think, I was like, who? There's only Bethesda could make this claim, but then I thought about it. I was like, somebody could easily pretend to be Bethesda very hard.
Oh, segue. You know who else is pretending to be Bethesda really hard?
All right, let's hear it. Let's go.
I forgot this was the next topic.
Let's go.
Let's get into it. Let's get into.
We must be referring to Avowed.
I need to put my boxing gloves on quickly.
Yes. So among the games,
am I the only one that's like excited?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually. I'm a little excited about the topic, not about the game.
Oh my god. Sacrilege.
Okay. So, wow, we've all got different opinions on this.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's gonna be a great topic. Okay, so we need to add context first. Hold on. So during the Xbox showcase, they showed at the very end they showed Fable, but right before that they also showed
What Fable?
They
What are they doing?
Fable.
Next one.
They're teasing Fable 4.
Oh my god. Okay, go
How
on.
is this the first time?
What?
I get busy and I don't look at stuff. Like if it's not Fallout related, it usually misses my window.
Okay, so and besides that, there was a game that was previewed called Avowed by Obsidian, and it looked like there wasn't much shown besides kind of a narration overlap about war and stuff, and showing an arrow traveling through the sky and then falling into a dungeon, and then suddenly showing two hands come up on screen, and one holding a blade and one casting a spell.
So cheeky. It's so cheeky.
And
it's a
something
short cinematic teaser.
Yes, it's a short cinematic teaser. There's no gameplay whatsoever. But here's the thing. This brought on a lot of comparisons to another franchise that has existed for decades by Bethesda.
Which one's that?
Well, it's just an indie project called The Elder Scrolls.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So here's what I am annoyed by Obsidian doing. They kind of shot themselves in the foot when they were talking about promoting the original creators of Fallout when they came out with The Outer Worlds. And here they are creating a game that looks very much akin to something we're all familiar with by another well-known developer. So they're shooting themselves in the foot again, I think. That's what I think is happening.
That's an interesting take. Did you not like The Outer Worlds? Is that why you're saying that?
The Outer Worlds was a game.
Okay,
that's
interesting.
Played it. I like some of the characters, but we have yet to see like when the DLC comes out. That's another one of the newest topics.
Okay,
but
now I think that they used from the original creators of Fallout as like a jab, like a playful jab, but also as a way to sell their game because
they did.
Yeah,
they did it on both counts, but players ran with that. That's what I'm worried about because when you say Obsidian, what's your first association?
Actually, do you want to know?
What is it?
Well, I mean, some would assume that it's New Vegas, right?
I'm
yes.
going to take a bet, but it's going to be South Park.
It is. When I hear Obsidian, I think of Stick of Truth. 100%.
Oh, cool.
As soon as somebody says Obsidian, that's the first game I think of. And New Vegas is like my favorite game. But like,
I'm so glad you're outside of the mold on that.
But it's weird. Like it's actually strange that you bring it up, and like immediately like that's what I think of. Like it's really strange to me. Like
But generally, fans of Obsidian are automatically going to draw their conclusions with New Vegas or draw comparisons with New Vegas.
Yeah, for sure.
So now they're giving us another game that will draw comparisons with something else. And I was willing to defend The Outer Worlds to be its own thing, but now I can't do that with this game.
Oh, I think that this is a piss take. I think that they are having fun. They wanted to make a game. Maybe, like, I think probably somebody in the company wanted to make a fantasy RPG, right? I believe that there's probably a lot of them that have a desire to make something like that. But I think the way they presented it was a piss take. Like, oh, hey, look at this very clearly looks like Skyrim game. Like, I think that they were doing it on purpose. And I realized that the game might actually look like that and play like that. But they might be trying to show a point to Bethesda that they need to step their game up, that other developers can come in and make games that people will enjoy, that people will like. Like you said, Outer Worlds was a game to you. I'm not saying that it was anything more to me, but I did actually enjoy it. Yes, it was short, but I enjoyed the time I spent in it incredibly. I thought the world was incredibly fleshed out. I really enjoyed the characters that I met along the way. The companions that I had, I actually felt things for. I wanted to have them around. And
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I mean, we had more of an in-depth conversation about it. Like there were points besides just the characters that I enjoyed, but it would be like a longer tangent.
Oh yeah,
So
no, and
I
I've
stopped.
heard negative reviews of Outer Worlds, and I'm not saying they're not valid at all. I'm just saying for me, my perspective, like I enjoyed it a lot. If they can take that same energy and make a short, maybe the same kind of length. Fantasy RPG, I say more power to them. And if people end up thinking that it plays better than Elder Scrolls, then maybe Bethesda needs to think about how they make their games. You know what I mean?
My problem is the fact that it's being compared because, it's a first-person fantasy RPG. That's it. That's literally it. And it's not like Elder Scrolls and now Avowed are the only games who have been like this.
They're not
So
the
I
only
think
ones
it's the
doing
way it
this.
looked. Like when he
Yeah.
had the sword and his magic hand up, it just looked like Skyrim and Oblivion and...
I mean, even that, it's
yeah.
like, he's holding them in one hand each.
Well, no,
There's been
I
other games
agree.
that
I
have
just
done
think
that.
I'm just saying. I think the comparison is coming from the fact that it looks so similar. Like to
The first game that jumped into mind for me was Might and Magic. That was the initial spark in my brain. I was like,
Mine was Skyrim immediately. I said, "Oh, Obsidian's making a Skyrim." Todd
yeah.
is so pissed. That's what I said. Oh man, he's so mad.
This is what annoys me, is so many people are just going, Oblivion's making a Skyrim game, and then their expectations are, Oblivion's better than Bethesda because everyone keeps saying it.
Obsidian?
Therefore, this
Obsidian.
game's going to be better than Skyrim, which is a great, huge open world game with 4+ games of lore behind it, and has been in development for so long, and I have a feeling that this to Obsidian is just going to be another one of their games. I'm sure it will be good. Obsidian's a good developer. I think it's going to be good. Like you said, it's probably going to be a fair bit shorter. It's going to be fun to play. I'm looking forward to it. But so many people are going to not get what they want because they're going into this thinking, well, this is going to be the Skyrim killer.
It is Skyrim
this is
killer,
going to
bro.
be Obsidian.
Get used to it. You're just salty. Get used to it.
Yes.
Obsidian is going to kill Skyrim right now. It's finally happening.
I'm salty. And my salt has nothing to do with the developers. It's all community focused.
Yeah,
That's usually how it goes, actually.
Yeah.
that's where Sarge and I are in complete agreement. Where it's like the expectation, like we know what the fans are going to do, and it's probably going to ruin the game for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Like, despite what the quality is, like even if it's like a really good game, it may just be ruined by everybody else just yelling about how like Skyrim is.
I don't let other people get to me. I ignore everybody while I'm playing through a game. I don't even like look it up online or anything. Like if I'm really I want like Outer Worlds. When I first played it, I didn't stream it or anything like that. I just played it straight through for like 3 days straight. Then went online to talk about it and find stuff out about it. That would anybody who wanted to ruin anything, they could get away from me.
Yeah.
See, that part I get, but this is all pre-release. Like, this is after the first
I hear
trailer,
what you're
and
saying.
already all this stuff is happening.
I think people are just
Like-
taking a piss take on Bethesda, though, because, like, I honestly, like, I love Bethesda, man. I am one of their fans. But that's why I'm so critical of them. That's why I'm so critical of... And if they release an Elder Scrolls game, notice I don't ever talk about Blades and how big of a money pit that is and how big of a disaster that is. But it's because...
I assumed we'd all just forgotten it existed.
Well, it's on my Switch. Haven't really touched it or anything, but I downloaded it. Checked it out. But like, I don't talk about that because it's not the thing that I'm like passionate about. You know what I mean? It's not the thing that I'm like that's the hill I'm gonna die on is Elder Scrolls. But I can still see improvements could have been made there and there. I hear the fans of the game saying this and this. If they use the same model that they've been using to kill Fallout, then Avowed might be a breath of fresh air for people who want something new instead of Skyrim for 10 years straight. Because we're getting Skyrim again on PS5. So maybe Avowed coming out can maybe kick Bethesda. And I realize that we're getting Elder Scrolls 6. That's not what I'm saying. But maybe make Elder Scrolls 6 really good. Like, maybe don't cut corners. Maybe make sure it's not so buggy. Maybe make sure that the story is very fleshed out and everything is really good, which they do with they did with Skyrim. I think a lot of people think it's shallow, not me, but just maybe really make sure if other people are going to start challenging you. That's all I'm saying. Is like the piss take is, hey, maybe step your game up. Maybe you can't be lazy now because other people are going to come into the genre.
So you're just talking about healthy competition.
Yeah. That's kind of, and like maybe Bethesda doesn't look at Obsidian as competition because they're like this multi-billion, like situation. But like Obsidian can make a game, man. They know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So if they make a better game than you, it's embarrassing. That's all I'm saying. It's like if they make Avowed and it's better than what Elder Scrolls 6 ends up being, or some other project that Bethesda's working on, or an update for 76, people are gonna call attention to that because it's like you guys make these same games, make them better. Like, look at this.
See, I've got a slight problem with that. You're just saying better when I feel like they're going to be two very different games.
Well, yeah, for sure. I'm paraphrasing.
And I don't think they're going to be comparable when you really get down to it. I have a feeling Avowed's going to be much smaller, like you say. I'm not even sure if it's going to be like proper open world or anything. It might just be much more of a narrative, linear experience.
Well, kind of like how Outer Worlds was.
Yeah, and then it's not going to be like a fair comparison to go,
I agree.
Oh, well, compared to the huge open world thing.
What I mean about better is not from that standpoint. What I mean is making sure that the game isn't filled with bugs before it gets launched. Making sure that you're not taxing people to play the game, which they haven't done well, I guess with Creation Club kind of, but that's a choice.
Yeah.
No, that's a choice though. You don't have to do that. But like still, if more monetization seeps into their single player games, I think that makes it like not as good as a game that doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, because then, but again, if it's all choice or whatever, it doesn't matter. Monetization aside, what I mean by better is just more solid. And I'm not talking, of course, they're big open world expansions. You're gonna have bugs. You're gonna have these moments of, of course you are. And then you have to have people to play them on a wide scale to find them and address them. So it all makes sense. Like, I'm not trying to hate on that. But if Obsidian releases like just a solid game where there's like no bugs in it, and Outer Worlds had bugs, it did. Just they were very few and far between, and they didn't break the game so much as you see. But again, an open world game with a bunch of quests is way different than a linear game that kind of looks open world. They're different monsters, and one can be fine-tuned easier. I totally agree. I just meant on a solid level, on a stability level better.
Yeah. Like want it to be more polished.
Yeah, like if they make a super polished game that's really, really good, and then Bethesda releases Elder Scrolls 6 and it's just filled with bugs and like unplayable, it's gonna reflect badly on Bethesda because people will point it out and be like, oh, hey, well, somebody can make similar. And I realize like what you're saying, and when you put it into that perspective, of course they're not going to be comparable, but people are going to regardless. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, like you can't compare Outer Worlds to Fallout 4 or New Vegas or whatever, but people assume that it's a sequel to New Vegas and that it's Mr. House's like big plan put into it. And that's cool to think about lore-wise. Mr. House wanted to colonize space, and here we are in colonized space. Maybe this was Mr. House's doing. That's a fun theory, and it's very nice, but it's not Fallout New Vegas. And people try to... It's very similar in the way it plays, but it's also very different. So, like you said, comparison is hard if you actually logically break it down instead of this game bad, this game good. Comparison, so... That's all I meant. I just wanted to clarify that I wasn't one of those people that's like, just make it better. Like, I was just paraphrasing for the sake of the conversation.
Oh my god, why don't you just make a good game?
Yeah, just make... No, all the games they make are good. It's just like, if one is more polished, though, people will reflect that on the other. Like, they'll be like, this was super polished and really good, and your game's shit. Like, and I'm talking about the general masses. I'm not talking about people who break them down, analyze them. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. The the takeaway from this is all we got was a cinematic trailer, and we get one line that says, "Obsidian Entertainment is proud to present our next epic first-person RPG set in the fantasy world of Eora." Here's one of my tinfoil hat things. It might be VR.
I bet you it is, actually, based on the cinematic trailer. Now that you say that, I bet you it is, because they have two things going on then, because they're doing the DLC for, Outer Worlds, which we're getting to, the Gorgon thing. But the way that they get that perspective in the cinematic trailer is very reminiscent to a VR game. So it's a good point, actually.
But that's like, it could be anything. But it would be their first, as far as I know, their first foray into VR, which is still a vastly untapped market. Like, Half-Life Alyx.
It's the only VR game. And Justin Roiland.
Yeah, pretty much to anybody. Half-Life Alyx and Beat Saber are only VR games. Yeah.
Do you VR it up?
That have really... Yeah, I do.
Oh, man, I need to get a setup. They're expensive, man.
Yeah, they are. The only reason I have one is because my roommate got me a stupidly expensive gift one year.
Oh, cool. Is it worth it, though? Like, worth the price tag?
Yeah. Well, if you're going to play it. I think.
Heck yeah.
I will certainly tell you that it's not worth it as a gift to someone, because you don't even know if they're going to like it. And I was actually pretty mad for a while.
I hear that you get the same like vertigo feeling, like if you look over a high ledge, like you like get scared.
Yes.
Really? That's so insane to me that brains work that way.
And you can also get motion sickness pretty easy if you're not and you're using movement controls.
Well,
so something to keep in mind.
That and other reasons, I'm gonna have to really look into this, because I want to play. First off, I want to play Fallout 4 VR, even though I heard it's terrible.
It's so bad.
I just want to check it out. But I heard Half-Life Alyx is one of the best experiences in gaming history, so I want to check it out.
Yeah, and of course, it's Valve knocking it out of the park and proving that they can make games still. Yeah, well, let's hope that continues.
They can pretend all they want, right? I said in my stream chat the other day that Half-Life was overrated, and I have never seen like
they just come out of the woodwork and just
to that was well, it was believable, but it was really over dramatic. It was a really over dramatic reaction,
man.
Because let's be real, Half-Life is overrated. The first game, everybody talks about it like it's like, oh my god, Half-Life is so good, but it's just like what you said, Caedo. To me, it's just a game. Like it's like a I don't want to say a tutorial, but it's like a introduction to first-person shooter.
When did you play it?
When it came out, like when I was a kid.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So you weren't kind of like super amazed by
my
like
friend.
How it
my friend
and,
was. I had a friend named Blaine, and he was super into it. Like he was like blown away. Like, oh my god, like all this. But to me, when I was playing it, to me it more felt like, oh, so this is how video games are gonna be. This is the like tech demo for that.
that's why it was so groundbreaking at the start. You're kind of on the
Yeah, but to me that shouldn't be like amazing to people. That's just some people like sat down and were like, oh, you can do all this with a game. Cool, let's put all of that into a game. Like yeah, they wrote a good story. Yeah, the game like it's solid and good. I'm not saying that. But people talk about Half-Life like it's Super Mario. You know what I mean? Like it's Super Mario Brothers 1.
Because it's a foundational game.
Yeah,
like
no, I know
that's
what
it is.
It just when I was a kid, it just was a game that my friend really liked. So like to me, when people are like, "Oh, Half-Life is just so good," I'm like, now I'm not saying that it's bad. Like Half-Life 2, especially, man. I said it was overrated. So it was overrated. And that could mean, but what overrated means isn't that it's bad. It means that people hype that game up more than I think it deserves. Now I'm not saying it wasn't revolutionary. But I do it with games all the time. I hype up Fallout 2 more than it deserves. I hype up Red Dead Redemption 2 more than it deserves. I say Red Dead Redemption 2 is like the best game that's come out in the like past 20 years, which would mean pretty much gaming history. And there's no way that that's entirely true. I'm sure it's true on some aspects, but it's not overall. But to me, it is. I was like, this is the best game that's ever been released. But some people think it's boring and dumb. You know what I mean? Like it's like this is a cowboy simulator. I don't like it. But with Half-Life, it felt like a tech. The first one. I'm not talking about the second one. The first one felt like a tech demo when I was playing it. Like I felt like I thought it was a demo. Like I'm not saying I thought it was a demo, like a short game that whatever. I thought like the experience was to demo you for how to play games on the PC. Like, oh, this is what a PC game is. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain now because of the way video games work, but back then, you had your consoles, and then like PC was new. It was like this new thing, and so when Half-Life came out, it was one of the first games that all of us played, and it was like, at least my generation is what I'm referring to, and it just felt like, oh, introduction to PC gaming. This is what a PC game is, and you're like, oh, okay, but by the time Half-Life 2 came out, like, I feel like Half-Life 2 is the real gem of the series, in my opinion. Like, that game is stellar. But people talk about the first Half-Life like it's like, oh my god. Look. It's like, yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but I think it's more the whole series that people are reminiscing and then placing it onto Half-Life 1, like its shoulders. Like, oh, like, because the Half-Life 2 is a far superior game. Like, the pick up the can scene? Are you kidding me? Right out of the gates, pick up the can. And it's like, it's so good. Like, it's really good at storytelling. When you get to Ravenholm, or whatever it's called, with the head crabs and all the people that are like screaming, and the scientists with the head crabs on them and stuff, like it's like a horror village. Like, the game is so good. But anyway, I am way off topic here. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I just feel like the first Half-Life is overrated. I feel like it overshadows its brethren when it shouldn't. Like,
despite saying it's overrated, do you still recommend people play it?
Oh, hell yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm saying people give it like I have a Black Mesa, the remake for it. Mm-hmm. I suggest people that are new to it and haven't played the first Half-Life, check that out. It remasters everything. It gives it this. Oh, I guess playing the first one would make that more special. Yeah, but I always recommend people play the Half-Life games. Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
I think Gordon Freeman is like one of the best protagonists in gaming history. It's not about how iconic it is. I just feel like people are like, oh, Half-Life 1, like it's literally the best game that's ever been made. I just don't think it's the best game that's ever been made. I think that's...
and that's okay.
Do you think it's the best game that's ever been made? You're talking to me like it is? Okay. I was gonna say.
No, I just... It was just negatives were outweighing the positives in your discussion, so we're reestablishing
that's because I was being asked about the negatives.
Right.
Like, I don't think the game is bad at all. Like, I don't think the series is bad. But I do think that people hounding Valve for a Half-Life 3 for decades is silly, misguided, and, like, at this point, embarrassing.
Why don't we move on to the last topics really quick, and then we can actually move on to the Fallout topic. Sound good?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Because we're an hour and a half in. So anyway, there was a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. I don't know how important it is to you two, but WoW Classic servers have still been going on for a little bit, where the official WoW Classic servers have happened. And there was a guild that did the classic 40-man raid on Onyxio, which is one of the big dragon raids.
Leroy Jenkins.
One of the most iconic. Yeah, Leroy Jenkins. That's where that video came from, basically.
It is.
And these raiders did it without any gear.
Nice. Well played.
They did it completely naked.
Like they didn't have weapons either?
No. The only like they were using various buffs from like scrolls and potions and stuff like that, but beyond that they had nothing.
Were they hitting him with his fists? With their fists?
It was they were using
magic.
they were using a pet as a tank and then using magic generally.
Oh my goodness. That's insane.
Yeah. They were using pets as tanks, and I can't remember what else they had as a tank, because they were rotating between tanks, obviously, because they had to keep everybody healed with no buffs or no bonuses. But they managed to do it, and it was pretty impressive to watch. So I recommend checking that out if you guys got time to watch something nonsensical and historical in the WoW community. And the other thing I want to mention is that Worms Armageddon got an update 21 years later after it came out. It's now, since it has been, to me, like one of the most iconic Worms games. It's one of the ones I grew up on. It's gotten updated for modern games. You can have more worms in the field. You can have more players. It's got online play, I believe. Like, it's just a fun game. If you like the side view tank destruction type games like Worms, it's a good time to try Worms Armageddon, because it's a good game. And if you got people to play with, it makes it that much more fun. So who's most excited for Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
Sarge?
Maybe. I mean, it is the Assassin's Creed game I am most excited for, but I'm still probably not going to get it at launch. I'm gonna have to wait.
Okay. Well, I'm getting it on launch. I think I already have it pre-ordered, like Ultimate Edition style.
Is it coming out on Game Pass?
Don't know. I'm getting it on PC.
Can still get it on PC with Game Pass. If it does. I think that's the only way I would play it for day one.
For me, it's a case. I've just got to wait and see how well they've captured the area I'm literally sat in right now.
Well, isn't it like hundreds of years in the past?
Yeah, but it's like 1,000 years in the past, set exactly where I am.
It's like right where you're sitting?
Yeah, I live in 1066 country, and my childhood was medieval reenacting, and I know about like all my ancestry, and I don't reveal my real name online because it's even linked to that stuff.
Okay,
like this
so
is literally my history.
Do you have like Vikings in your family? Is that like in your family?
Yeah,
family?
I'm a mix of Viking, Saxon, and Norman. I've got all of it. Like,
I see how you got mixed up in that. Yikes.
Yeah, it's like this. This game is literally my ancestors and stuff, and I'm like,
oh no, you can't pre-order it on Steam yet. Never mind.
Oh,
I thought I did.
But yeah, but it's a case of there was a trailer that came up like a few weeks ago.
It made me cry, dude.
Oh, the most exciting part for me was the map that it showed, because I could go, I'm right there, and point myself out on the map.
Well, there you go.
And it was great.
That's pretty great.
I don't care about the rest of the game is the problem.
Dude, like that their trailer where they all row up, like, I don't know, like it shows like kids playing with them, and then like the whole thing, like at the end of it I was like emotional, like it's like Odin is with us, and I was like, oh shit, what is going on? And I'm not even that into like the Viking culture or anything like that. Like my wife is really into it. She knows a lot about the Nordic stuff because her heritage is like all that. But yeah, it looks super. Especially after playing Odyssey so much, I'm very excited for Valhalla.
Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping. There was only one thing that kind of bothered me about Odyssey, and it was kind of just the janky animations that NPCs and like dialogue had. But otherwise, the gameplay was good, fun.
I'm emailing Ubisoft that you said that right now.
And they're adding like this rush charge attack instead of the Sparta kick that we had in Odyssey.
Dude, the Spartan kick is so good.
I know, it's good.
Oh, it's so good.
But it's where you just like pile drive into a dude and can like run him into walls and stuff. Like,
You know what's
and,
really
and
upsetting to me?
sprint. It's really cool.
Spoiler alert for our Assassin's Creed Odyssey, by the way. Do you know what upset me?
What's that?
A bunch of sick people were there, and I helped them. And then somebody in my stream goes, "Did you help the sick people when I was like leaving the island?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I did." And he's like, "Oh no." I was like, "Well, that's not a good sign." And so then, so like I'm chilling in this island, after talking to my dad, and someone's like, the guide's like, "Oh, by the way, everybody on the island is dying now from a plague." I'm like, great.
Yeah,
that must have been my doing for being a nice guy, and now I'm really afraid to go back there. I haven't gone back there yet.
That's Witcher level consequences.
Sure was. It was like, dude, all I did was save people. Like, what? I can't wait for Cyberpunk, man. Can you imagine the choice and consequences that are going to be going down in there?
So the final thing on the news, I just want to get to the end of the news thing. Okay. The Outer Worlds DLC got announced when they were showing off the Xbox stuff. Paralon Gorgon. It's going to be finally some Outer Worlds DLC. It has been almost a year since the Outer Worlds came out. Well, yeah, that's about it. Like, it's been about a year since the Outer Worlds came out. I don't even remember my character that I was playing, but I'm excited to try and adventure more in the Outer Worlds. Like, the characters had me interested. Maybe there's going to be more plot twists related to the overarching issues in the Halcyon system. Halcyon system colony thing.
Yeah.
I remember some of it. I did videos on this game.
Yep. Well, that kind of answers my question, as I'm guessing both of you are buying this day one pretty much.
I probably am, yeah.
You've committed crimes against Skyrim and their people. What do you say in your defense?
I have a bot that does that for me, and it's great.
Oh, what, like in your server?
Yeah, exclamation point guards.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
I have
amazing.
a guards command.
Yeah, I might get it. Well, day one might be iffy. I'm not buying it on PC until it's on Steam. So they need to chip chop with getting it off the Epic Store so I can buy it. I have it on. I had it on Game Pass. So if it's on Game Pass, then yeah. But like,
it'll be on Game Pass, yeah.
No, okay, then yeah, I'll play day one because it's free.
Yeah, I will
for me. Well, free quote, but.
Yeah.
Part of my package. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to be picking it up.
Wow. You know what?
Yeah. I enjoyed my time with Outer Worlds, but I burnt out on it very quickly. It wasn't quite what I wanted, and the DLC doesn't have anything that's like, oh my god, I can't resist that. It's just like, okay, looks like it's going to be more of a game. I'm not too fussed, and I'd have to spend money on it, so not going to worry. I got other stuff to play, but I do hope it's good. I do want to be clear, this isn't like, oh, screw Outer Worlds. No, it's literally just like, I hope it's good, but it's not enough to get me back in.
Well, if you do end up going with Game Pass, I'm pretty sure it's all going to be available there anyway. So
yeah,
he won't even play
if
it.
you do go with that, it'll be the option. But if,
hashtag cancel BADCompanySarge.
Yeah.
Please, everyone, head over to my channel and cancel me.
Cancel him.
Yep.
Click the cancel button.
Go on all of my videos, type cancel in the comments, and that is how it works.
Well, you can only do it after you watch the entire video, or it won't work.
Oh yeah. That's
you have to watch it all the way through.
You have to watch all of the ads as well.
Yeah.
And then that's how you cancel.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a great strategy. Awesome. Well, we finally made it past the news, guys. Woo!
We did.
So now we can have our short Fallout topic about best characters to play in Fallout. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to weigh in the comments too about their character builds and why they're the best.
Yeah. And specifically, this is character builds, not like I want to skin Nick Valentine and beat him.
Wear his skin as a mask and walk around
no,
his duties.
Obviously we're talking about Brotherhood of Steel, where you can only play as like 3 characters initially.
You know what? That game
and then
gets
play the
better and better
unlockables.
each day. People hate on it, honestly. Like, the more people are upset about it, the more I tend to just start to think, it's like, you know what? Good for you. You be you. Everybody
it's like you're absorbing the life force they're putting into this.
What?
It's like you're absorbing their life force as they're getting more and more frustrated.
Yeah. It just exists That's all. That's the only crime it's ever committed. And people just throw it into the freeway, into the garbage. Can't believe it.
I threw it in the garbage on a video. That was
Did
like
you?
one of my first
Oh
live
my
action
God.
things, yeah.
How dare you? No, I
Yeah.
get it, cause like, yeah, I mean, it's a dumpster fire for sure. But like, I wouldn't throw it away. You must have did it for the views. Cause I'm
Yeah,
a
I did it for
collector.
that was an April 1st video.
Oh, okay, I see.
This was initially Sarge's suggestion, so I think Sarge should go first.
There you go.
Ah.
Sarge's first voted. Democracy
me.
manifest.
Yeah.
Carry the team like you do a nuclear winter.
Yeah. Well, that's the first point, is obviously there's like roughly 50 million Fallout games and different ways to approach them all. So just there being like one objective best build doesn't work, even within certain games like 76 where Bloodied is the best and that needs to change. I made a video on that, go dislike it please. So that's not always going to be the case. Damn, I thought I would have come up with something to say at the end of that sentence.
What is your most played when you're just playing character build?
See, I always like to go for somewhat stealth rifleman. Like, it gives me the sniper option. I'm an accurate shot, so I can just like dome people pretty well in the game. I'm also not a big VATS user because I am a decent shot, so I'm like, give me a weapon that's accurate, powerful. It can be slow, so I have to land my shots, and I get punished if I don't. But I love just precision shooting in games, even like back in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, where things weren't too precise. I'm still like a huge fan of that, and that's what gets me going. I'm always, let me be the badass lone sniper. It's always the archetype I go to, and most of the time, Fallout games let you do that very well. I'd say in most of the games, being like a sniper is a very valuable kind of skill set to build around. Besides in 76 where it sucks, and I hate that.
Because of the damage fall off.
God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's like you have to get the mutants to suck on the end of your rifle to actually kill them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what would the attributes look like universally for that build?
I mean, I get called out a lot for going low perception with my snipers, but that's because everyone thinks, oh, you gotta be a high perception because accuracy and stuff. But once again, I manually do it, and I'm good at that. I'm gonna say it. Go check my latest Twitter vid. I have a couple of crazy snipes in there in a different game. And, like, yeah, people always go high perception, but I like playing high intelligence, high agility more than anything. Okay. I want to be smart. I want to be fast. I try and build myself as much as I can. And that's how I used to be. Before I spent my entire day sitting at a computer and slowly gaining weight. I was the smart, fast guy.
Relatable.
Super relatable.
I felt that to my core.
Yeah. Man. But yeah, that's always the build I go for. But it's very rarely the best build in games as well, I find, in the Fallout games. Like, 9 times out of 10 there's a better way to go. I feel like Fallout 3 was maybe the best for snipers, in my opinion. Just because so much of that game was open. And there were so many times where it was like, oh, that Deathclaw's half a mile away, let me just empty 3 magazines into it whilst it charges at me.
And which was it? The victory rifle that had knockdown on crit?
Maybe?
Which made it absurd. And also Lincoln's Repeater, which was one of the strongest weapons in the game. Yeah. So you had every ability to be effective sniper.
Yep. But I am putting my vote in for Lone Sniper being best build.
Okay.
And Caedo, do you want to talk about punching stuff?
I do. So unlike Sarge, I don't have a archetype based around me in real life. I go completely in another direction where I play a high strength, high endurance character that strength, endurance, agility character that specializes in unarmed /punchy weapons and explosives. That is my absolute favorite combo in probably any game at this point. Because in the Fallout 1 playthrough, like, I knew that power fists were good, like in the classic games. Like, if you had enough armor class and were fast enough to get to the enemy, like, you could punch and knock them out before they had a chance to move and then loot their weapon off their body. But I learned that if you get to certain points in Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 and get grenades as well and level up your throw skill a little bit, it's such an underrated skill. Like, any of the like old guides that you look up will say that throwing is not even worth it because they're probably considering like spears and throwing knives, which are pretty few and far between on their own and don't do diddly squat against actual armor. But once you get up to grenades, then you'll actually be doing pretty heavy damage, especially with like, you know, plasma and pulse and stuff like that when you're fighting power armor dudes and deathclaws and whatever. So in my Fallout 1 playthrough, I did end up using my punchy character, did a lot of groin punches, which is fun and hilarious, and also ended up getting a pretty decent stack of plasma grenades. So when I was starting to take on the super mutants, I would open with a grenade, which did a heck of a lot of damage, and then finish them off with a couple punches, and it was pretty fun to play as that archetype. I'll say something very similar to in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4. Man, Fallout 4 having a dedicated grenade button is beautiful. It is so good. So, I guess I should say in Fallout 4, playing a melee type, either melee or unarmed type, is extremely fun. There is a little bit of a gameplay block though in Fallout 4 with power armor. You can't use a power fist in power armor.
Yeah.
And that came along with 76 as well, which really sucks. So you would have to be out of your power armor to use a power fist type build, because I think it was power fists, knuckles, and boxing gloves were like the only unarmed punchy weapons. They were severely lacking.
And Deathclaw Gauntlet.
And sorry, Deathclaw Gauntlet. Yeah, that was one of them too. I should have remembered that one. But Fallout 4 was lacking, whereas New Vegas gave more than you would ever want when it came to punchy weapons. Like, all of the DLCs had a new punchy weapon or multiples. So you had so many to choose from by the time you would get to the other DLCs of New Vegas. I probably have the most fun in New Vegas, primarily because you have the Mad Bomber perk, which gives you all kinds of fun new explosives, as well as the outrageous amount of choice you have with punchy weapons, and how much fun it is to just run up and go full Veronica on somebody.
Yeah.
So that's what I consider to be the best build, and probably I would venture to say the most fun. I'm gonna take it a bit further. Yeah.
I've seen Mantis playing Fallout 4 a lot recently, and I have no idea what build you play.
Well, it's just my main standard is having a really high charisma, high intelligence build for that. That's not across all games, but for Fallout 4, especially, high charisma is a must for me. I have to pass all the speech checks when they come up. Like, I have to have it.
Okay.
Right now, he is a rifleman in combat for the most part. Like, I have the rifleman perk pretty much maxed. Trying to think of any like other like things, but I do use I'll use like punchy weapons sometimes because they're fun, like to just run up and like hit somebody with something. But I use right now I'm refusing to not wear anything but like the Courser outfit and the Mechanist helmet because it looks so good, and that's how I feel the leader of the Institute should look. And and I did this like big dictator speech. It was like, your pointless lives mean nothing, and we control the wasteland, so just give up. It doesn't even matter. And then I'm walking around with big black trench coat and the Mechanist helmet.
Gone full supervillain.
Yeah, it's amazing. But
that's awesome.
It was really, and that's been a really fun way to play the game. But because I usually go good character, like on my real runs, I'm like good boy any way I can be. Yeah. But so yeah, I'm doing like I have the pistol kind of leveled as well for perk, but like non-automatic rifles is pretty much, so that's shotguns, sniper rifles,
Man,
combat rifles, stuff like that.
I forget that Fallout 4 has shotguns in the rifles as well.
Yeah. So like you can get your combat shotguns up to like, almost 400 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially once you start modding them and stuff, you get the gunsmith perks and stuff like that. Yeah. So I like doing that. But it's all a long process. You know how Fallout 4 works. So you just kind of like bit by bit getting it to where you want it to be. But for the other games, for New Vegas, I do low charisma because it's a dump stat in New Vegas, but I do speech, lockpick, and guns. Max those out. I make sure that I have enough strength to take strongback, so I can get the long haul perk. Oh, I get enough barter so I can take the long haul perk as well, so that I can fast travel over encumbered because I collect a lot of things. And then same with Fallout 3. Though charisma's a little bit more important there, I guess, but not as much. I do lockpick, gun, speech. Lockpick, gun, speech in... Oh, and jury rigging is a must in New Vegas. Like, you have to have jury rigging, best perk in the game.
I rarely use it.
Yeah, it's so good. But Fallout 2, lockpick, gun, speech, and Fallout 1, lockpick, gun, speech.
Sounds very much like not a full non-combative approach, but definitely let's just get around this and go for utility
I try
stuff.
to talk my way out of stuff until it's too late, and then that's when the gun skill comes in. So small guns in the first two games. I said guns, but it's small guns. I use rifles, pistols.
I assumed it
Right.
was the case.
Yeah.
Although it is quite amusing to imagine you failing charisma check and pulling out a missile launcher.
Well, in Fallout 2, if you do the OP build, within your first few levels, you have APA Mark II, maybe it's not the Mark II yet. So you have APA, Advanced Power Armor.
Yeah.
The Enclave Power Armor. You have the Pulse Rifle and the Bozar. You're literally unstoppable. Literally unstoppable if you do it right.
It's so absurd.
And so having your big guns.
insane.
Well, I guess Bozar might be a small gun still. It's
No, it's a big gun.
Is it a big gun? Okay, so
Yeah.
if you get your big guns up for that and the energy weapons up for that pulse rifle that you get where Smiley's all caged up, oh my god, you can just one shot Enclave Patrol. Get out of here. Just crit him in the face and they just melt. Oh man, the first two Fallouts are so good. Especially Fallout 2. It's so good.
Yeah. Dude, I'm with you there too. Like Fallout 2 is my absolute favorite, but it's also what I started with.
I always feel biased. So I always try to lean towards New Vegas by saying of course gameplay wise and all this other stuff New Vegas is better. But Fallout 2 is so good. It's so hard to explain to people who haven't played it. Cuz they just look at it and I think they just see an archaic old game. They don't see what it really is. I don't know. It's so good.
Have you seen the sprite sheets for that game?
Of course. They're beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. I did a whole video on the death animations.
It's not even that they're so beautiful. It's that there's so many.
Yeah.
For everything.
Man, they cared.
And you could see in the new games 3D models and stuff like that, and they have rigging and stuff like that. But just seeing all the painstaking time they took to make all of those stop motion animations, to get them to work,
and the talking heads
in a game like
clay.
that, the talking heads are amazing too. Yeah,
and they look good because most of the time when you tell people, that's clay, they don't believe you. They're like, oh, no, it's not. And you're like, yeah, look it up.
Yeah, it's modeled.
Clay.
It's modeled after clay.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And the death claws that are made out of clay, and oh man.
Yeah, I think they use on the talking heads, they use a technique that I think similar to King's Quest, where they did a paint over. Once they had the animation, they did a paint over to make it match the aesthetic of the game, or match the color scheme of the game. I could be talking out my butt for that, but it seems like that's how they would do it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, but it's just a lot of work went into those classic games, and I don't know, they're just so good. The stories are so good. And becoming an OP character in Fallout 2 is one of the most liberating gaming experiences ever of all time.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Because, also, if you get to the oil rig and you think you're OP,
that's the best part.
But you haven't. But you haven't been there before, and you're just oh, he just one shot me.
Yeah, it's you spend this whole game super OP because you went down to San Fran and you did all the nonsense and you went and you got the power armor and you got all the things you needed to get. And you're walking around doing all the quests, And you're like, well, yeah, I'll go to the oil rig. You go to the oil rig, and it's not even, like maybe your character is built enough to handle Horrigan, like to handle him hitting you with his big knife or his gun or whatever. But if you don't do something like about those turrets, it's one turn and you're over.
Yeah.
Those turrets will shred that APA Mark II. Because at this point, you should have the Mark II because it's down in the bunker of Navarro. So you can just grab it, switch it out. But like, the oil rig, it's in one of those places.
Yeah.
But those turrets with Horrigan, man, they are so brutal.
They mess you up.
Well, you can use the character editor. Make yourself level like 99. Make all of your stats 999. All of them. And the turrets will still hit you for like 400 damage when nothing else can do damage to you. Those turrets are brutal. Brutal. Intentionally, too. But if you do the right thing with Richardson and take him out, you just take his presidential ID card, beat Bop into the terminal. Now the turrets belong to you, and they help you, and they shoot Horrigan. While the Enclave guys come in, it's bada bing. Horrigan gets wrecked.
Yeah. Have you convinced the Enclave guys to fight him too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's like one of the only ways to go, because especially if you don't do the turrets, they can distract the turrets while you focus on Horrigan.
Yeah, I like how many options there are in that fight, for sure.
Yeah, except there's no talking your way out of it, which is sad. But
not
I related it in one of my
Horrigan.
videos. I even said it. I was like, at the beginning of Fallout 2, Cameron tells you in the Temple of Trials, you're not going to be able to talk your way out of every battle or every fight, you know what I mean? But up until Horrigan, you could. And I mentioned it in the game. I was like, and Cameron was right all along. Horrigan wants to hear nothing from you, man.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even make that connection. That's great.
Well, it's an ironic connection anyway, because you can talk your way out of it with Cameron. Like, you can't talk your way out of every fight. And then you're like, oh, are you sure about that? And he's like, oh, I guess you're right. He just leaves. Typical Fallout logic.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, I think we all kind of have different builds. Have any of us really played pretty hard into energy weapons and or heavy guns or big guns?
Only in Fallout 2.
I mean,
New Vegas.
I
New Vegas. Yeah, New Vegas. I have for sure.
Yeah.
You get Fallout 3 as well. If you go to the pit. And you get that metal shooter, whatever it's called.
Metal blaster? Dude.
That's one of the most OP guns in the game. Mm-hmm. Get out of here.
Yeah. I was asking because, like, I don't think, like, Fallout 3 onwards, I don't think I ever stuck to big guns, even though I've always wanted to, like, as a playthrough or whatever. But when I held votes for, like, the Let's Plays and stuff like that, nobody ever wanted a big guns character to be seen. The first one was the Fallout 3 playthrough was boring. They were just like, go with the Vagrant, which is the stealth sniper character. Everybody plays that. No offense, Sarge.
I play things a bit differently, at least. I don't just go for, I'm just going to be boring with it. I try and at least make it fun. Go for the crazy shots and challenge myself a bit, rather than just leaning into the more broken side of things.
Yeah.
Big guns gets crazy OP in Fallout 4.
Yeah. I want to try big guns at some point with one of my playthroughs. Like, maybe when I go hard into Fallout 4 VR again, I'll try big guns.
In 76, the build I've most been enjoying recently is Power Armor Big Guns. Because I feel it's a really good balance. You feel very powerful, but you can still get wrecked if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want, like, the power level to be for most builds in 76, which it isn't. But that's something I really enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so. I was kind of curious about that, actually. But I was gonna say I hope so, because you're kind of stuck with that build and relying on your power armor, right?
What do you mean?
Like needing to.
I was hoping there was going to be another sentence after that. I just don't know what you're saying.
Offended.
Sorry.
What are you talking about?
You're dedicated to that character build. You have to keep both your big gun and your power armor replenished and repaired, which you have
That's
to.
super easy though.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, like power armor
unlimited
degrades so
resources
slowly
over
in
here.
76. Yeah. Well.
Unlimited resources. Yeah.
Yeah, unlimited resources does help. Plus, I pay to win, obviously, and having Fallout first means I can just go to a private world and farm resources, because I just threw money at the game to win, because that's how you play it.
I'm the only one here that doesn't have Fallout first.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why a lot of your troubles are coming from, Caedo. You need to jump on the online bandwagon.
I need to
playing
really
Hello
become
Kitty
a shill.
Island Adventure and join the men with Fallout first.
I need to become the true Bethesda shill and buy the rest of what they
Buy
have.
the rest of the game. They put a lot of work into it, Caedo.
Yeah. Just be me, and everything will go perfectly for you.
Just be Sarge.
No, if you look at my Steam account, I recommended it, and some of my viewers came in and they were like, "Why did you recommend 76?" But if you look at the review, I'm like, "You literally can't play this game without this, so I have to recommend it." I was like, "I want to not recommend it, but I have to because." Like,
first.
Yeah.
You should like preface that by saying like, if you're a hoarder, this is essential for you.
Kind of.
Like, for the record, you can play without it. Like,
I have.
I've been playing since beta.
For the
and that
record,
was back when we had like a quarter of the stash limit.
I remember that. Yeah, no, I remember that. I came in beta on Xbox. So day one, because we Xbox nerds got it day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember all that, and I always thought that they should increase that to 1,000. I think they're still stuck at 800, and you're like, ugh. But at the same time, there is other things behind that paywall that I think are essential as well, like you mentioned, the private world, and that is another reason why I think that you don't get the full experience unless you get the Fallout first, because then you can, like you said, go into a private world, farm whatever you want, do whatever you want. And if that's not important to you, then if those two very important things aren't important to you, then Fallout first, whatever. But
I'd say the scrap box is by far like the biggest.
Oh, big time. You run out of space in that way fast. It fills up so fast.
You cannot play Fallout 76 in a particularly fun and compelling way without really using junk all that often. I did it. My scavenger run is on my channel. It's possible. You can play it, but you're constantly going to be, like, underpowered, and there's often not a lot to do. Like, you get through the quests, you play events, and once you've ticked all of that stuff off, game over. Because if you aren't, like, using junk all the time, you just drop everything that's worthless. I deleted that character because I knew the challenge run just like, no, this has stopped being fun at this point. Yes, I've proven my point, but it's possible. But it's not particularly fun, and it's not compelling, and you're weak all the time, and it's just like, nah, junk's important in that game.
Do you think the Enclave are going to come to Appalachia and wreck the Brotherhood?
Maybe.
Like a Game of Thrones style? Pick your
there
side.
There was like an AMA where it got hinted at ever so slightly.
Oh, I hope it does, because I'm telling you right now, if they turn 76 into like some kind of Brotherhood Enclave war zone, I take back everything I say, and I will join the Enclave, and I'm ready to
I'd be so into it.
Yeah, I'm super into it already. Like, I'm excited, like, thinking about it. Like, oh man, join the Enclave down there in the bunker, talking to Modus, and he's like, all right, let's go kill Brotherhood scum. He's just like, see, this is what they could be doing. Like, oh, here's a 20v20, 25v25 giant battle between the Enclave and the Brotherhood players, just on like separate worlds. They can make just like little deathmatch worlds that you could do that with, and people would play the heck out of this game. And you could still have adventure mode, you could still have your private servers, you could still have that, but like, you should be able to do this with these new factions. Like, join a faction and then like get faction points by PvPing in death matches. Like, it'd be fun, man. I don't know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think it would be too.
That's just one guy's opinion. Yeah, like, remember Halo 3? Do something like that. Big team battle? Come on. Come on. Oh,
that'd be pretty great.
It'd be fun.
Well, I think we're pretty much past the best character thing. Or
we've all objectively agreed that I'm right.
Yeah.
So
sure.
We can now move on.
Yep. Sarge is right. Best Sarge.
Yep.
Go subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
YouTube.com/BADCompanySarge. So if you have a best character build you like to play, please comment down below. We have a comment of the cast every single PIPCast that we pick and then we talk about. So you might be featured in the next PIPCast 3000 if you partake in the discussion. And lastly, we have the what are you playing / working on discussion thing. I'm hoping we can keep this one short. Mantis, what are you playing / working on?
1 second here.
And I'm also going to disappear for 5 seconds.
What?
Oh my god. I am playing or working on a Fallout 4 stream playthrough that I've been doing on the channel. Off channel, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I'm having a good time with it. I was suggested to play Detroit Become Human because I always talk about synths not being people, so my fan base said, go play Detroit Become Human and tell us. So now I'm doing that. I picked it.
Yeah, just quickly, you put in the outline Detroit BC,
yeah, I
assume was Become Computer.
Become Computer. No, I meant to type BH, Become Human. Cooking Simulator, I picked that up the other day, and it's intense, and that's been fun playing off channel as well. And for my channel, I have a video about the pre-New Vegas lore of Benny, covering who he was leading up to him meeting the courier. So that's what I have that I'm working on.
Nice. Well, I'm a 76 channel, so I've been making tons of Fallout 76 videos.
Nice.
My second to last most recent one was about the meta and Bloody Bills and all of that, and that's got a lot of engagement and a lot of dislikes. So if you want to see someone with a controversial opinion, which is still positive towards 76 whilst being negative and criticising it, that's the video for you. My latest video, which isn't out at the time we're recording this, because it comes out like 10 minutes after I'm speaking real time, is reworked perk cards, where I've drafted up my own perk cards to be added into the game. And if you want to see something creative, go check that out. And other than that, I've been playing games off channel, because video games are fun. Mm-hmm. I played Final Fantasy VIII, because that game's amazing,
it is.
And I love it, and it's also stupid, and I got to some of the stupid points in the story, which is great fun.
Yeah, it is, man. That's a great game.
It's so damn good. I've also played Titanfall 2, because that game is also just so damn good. It is like a top 10 first-person shooters ever made, I'd put it into.
Oh, nice.
It is that good. If you haven't played it before, I highly recommend it. It's very cheap now. It's got an active player base, definitely on Xbox and PC still, which is pretty cool to see.
I have it in my library.
Yeah, it's good. You should play it. Also, I've been playing Far Cry New Dawn. My Twitter recently is me basically posting clips of like badass stuff I've done in that game. I love it so much. I'm actually going to be talking about it on my channel. I love it that much. I kind of have got swept away with it. So damn good.
Wow.
Caedo!
Something besides Fallout you're going to talk about on your channel?
Oh, it's going to be tied to Fallout 76 because I still need to obey YouTube's algorithms.
It's the same universe. I'm calling it.
Oh, okay.
I'm calling it.
Oh.
Awesome. So it's my turn? My turn to talk about
Yeah.
things? Okay. So I played a game called Surviving the Aftermath, which is a SimCity-like, but in a post-apocalypse. But it also has a bit of an extra flavor of some civilization.
What?
Kind of vibe. It's really cool. Hold on.
You don't say.
So
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, so you have your settlement that you're setting up, obviously, and you have your specialists. You send your specialists out to the map, and that is the more tactical-oriented map, where every 12 hours or every half day of real time in your settlement is a turn that you get to spend with your specialist moving around the map and discovering areas and finding resources. And you can come back to your camp basically at any time and return those resources, and if you need to, heal up your specialist, because you can fight raiders while you're out there too. So obviously you're building up a camp from nothing, so and eventually a colony of wastelanders and stuff like that. So you have people coming to your gate. Sometimes they're bandits and raiders, and sometimes they're other people just looking for food or shelter or something like that. You can take them into your community, and then you can set up, schools and different power systems and stuff like that. You can use wind or solar power. It's, think like SimCity, but there's also bad like weather type effects. Obviously there's Fallout, which is one of them. There's pandemics. There's meteor showers, which are fun. They like destroy buildings and stuff like that. Generally, it's just a really fun. I had a lot of fun up until I got to the point where I couldn't progress anymore because all of my people froze.
Somebody over here is taking a dump on it.
Oh.
Like you were saying like all these really positive things, and then this guy's like, well, the graphics of the game are inviting, offers nothing to stick around for. Beep. Played it. He's like basically played it once. It's like, okay, dude, so maybe you're not the best. It looks really sick. It looks really cool.
It was a freebie on the Epic Store, and that's why I started playing it. And like I dig it. It's one of the ones I'm going to add next.
On the Epic Store?
It's not.
Okay, because it says it's coming to Steam soon, so I have it on my wish list now. That looks it looks cool, man. It's right in my, because I love City Skylines, I love SimCity, I love that kind of.
Oh yeah, you'll dig it then.
Yeah, and to put it, in post-apocalypse land, come on.
You'll absolutely dig it.
Yeah, I'm really stoked on that.
So this is going to be added to my whenever we discuss, games that are like Fallout that we recommend to people who like post-apocalyptic games. This is going to be added to that list.
Yeah, this
because
looks really cool.
Yeah, I've got it basically to a completed state, so I can say that I beat the game for how it stands right now, because it just got to a point to where it just stopped working. Because I think it's still technically in a beta or early access, so there's things
apparently
they're
it leaves early
still
access
working on there.
Late 2020.
But yeah, what's there is pretty entertaining. I got a couple days worth out of it. But I marathon games also. So if you have like an actual real person job, not a YouTuber job, you'll get some good hours out of it. Okay, and I played Grounded. It was okay. It's also early access. A large portion of my time with it was not being able to play because it used an Xbox Live login, even if you had it on Steam. And if you had anything prior to Windows 10, I had Windows 8.1, the game would freeze on the login because Xbox Games Pass or the Xbox app itself doesn't work on any other versions of Windows. So it's trying to log into something that doesn't work on Windows 8 and Windows 7. So it would just freeze and then crash for many players, me included. So this is when I finally updated to Windows 10 and I can suddenly play it. Multiplayer and single player. So when I did get to play it, it's got a good foundation for a survival game, but the story content is severely lacking. Like, I feel like it was pushed out way too quickly, because there is like 3 objectives and they're really easy to complete if you've played survival games before. So, and then after that those objectives are done, all you have to do is just build more stuff and do a little research on building gear, crafting gear, and then a little bit of exploration. There's not too terribly much to explore either. That's basically it. Usually when there's a game with little to no objectives, I start getting really bored really fast. Unless it's something like Conan Exiles, where you have like these dungeons kind of interspersed and like things you can't fight that you're gonna come back to later kind of thing. But the only things that you couldn't fight and would terrify you would be the spiders in Grounded, and you don't want to fight those most of the time because they will one-shot you. Like, I don't know, it does need work, but it's got a good foundation, I think. Quickly, yeah, I finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I enjoyed it. The story seemed to be a little bit end a little abruptly, but otherwise, I really enjoyed it. And I got gifted a game by Jade, patron of both Sarge and myself, called Other Side. Side spelled CIDE, which is meaning we're slaughtering the others, which are these creepy Silent Hill-like looking things. It's a tactics game, kind of similar to XCOM, or in that vein of XCOM, but it's also got a roguelike spin. So your squad is up to 3 individuals. They're called the Daughters, and you're fighting these others, but health is a resource, and it's used for abilities, and you cannot heal unless you sacrifice a daughter of equal or lesser level. So it has this, you will fail a lot, and a lot of your daughters will die as you're progressing through this. I finally beat the first boss earlier today, and it's really enjoyable. It's also got a cool aesthetic. Well, I say cool, but it might just be just an edgy aesthetic. It's monochrome with accents of red. Think like Sin City or
Hatred,
something like that, or Hatred. Yeah. Oh yeah, Hatred had that. Man, that game.
I haven't played it, but it's in my library.
That was. Oh,
I'm afraid to play it because I feel I like add my viewers on Steam, so I have like 430 friends, and I feel like all of them will unsub and like think weird of me if I'm playing it. Like, what, Mantis? Yeah. Mantis is playing Hatred. Why? What's he gonna do? It's always like a sign.
Yeah. But that's basically all I've been playing. I do recommend Other Side, though. If you like strategy games and you like roguelikes, it's a nice mix of the two. The time I've had with it, it's been rewarding as I have gotten to that first boss and surpassed it. So, do recommend. I also have an Ultimate Skyrim guide that I'm still working on over time, but I have no ETA on it because there's a lot of methods and I don't want to use exploits.
Yeah, no,
so
I agree.
It's going to be heavy on the for players who want to. There's methods that can be exploited, but it's going to be for players who don't really want to and want to know how to level things. So
legit guide.
Look forward to that, I suppose. Well, thank you again, Mantis, for coming and hanging out with us.
Hey, thank you for listening to me talk too long.
And this has been a lovely conversation yet again about the games and franchise we love.
Yes,
for sure. If you want to find any of us, you can find information for Mantis, Sarge, and myself down below in the description. And I think the Patreon links are going to be down below as well. Thank you all of you for listening up until the very end. And we hope you take care of yourselves. Be safe. And we'll catch you in 2 weeks.